What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the corner. As I promised, gotta do Lakers talk. So let's get into it. What happened to the Lakers? All right. So obviously, it's been a fall from grace, and you can't even call it glorious. Uh, the Lakers got eliminated officially on a bad loss to the Suns. Um, 31 and whatever their record is right now. It's actually really depressing to see. Uh, so I just took a quick look and I wanted to break it down a little bit. Um, so what I did was I printed out the rosters from when LeBron joined the Lakers initially to this year where we are now, and I just did some light information just to kind of show the downfall of the Lakers, if you will. So in 2018-2019 season, the Lakers roster consisted of Lonzo Ball, Michael Beasley, Isaac Bonga, Reggie Bullock, Contavious Caldwell Pope, Alex Caruso, Tyson Chandler, Josh Hart, Andre Ingram, Brandon Ingram, LeBron James, Jamario Jones, Kyle Kuzma, Scott Machado, JaVale McGee, Mike Muscala, Zvi Mikhailuk. I don't know if I said that right. He's Ukrainian. Anybody, shout out to Ukraine. I know they're going through it right now. But I continue. Rajon Rondo, Born Ready, aka Lance Stevenson, Mo Wagner, Travis Ware, Jonathan Williams, Evika Zubac. And then the head coach at the time was Luke Walton. The GM was Rob Pelinka. And the president of basketball operations was Magic Johnson. Additionally, that year, the Lakers had three picks in the draft. Now, the Lakers roster of in 2021-2022 season consists of Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, DJ Augustine, Kent Bazemore, Avery Bradley, Anthony Davis, Wayne Ellington, Wenyen Gabriel, Talon Horton Tucker, Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Stanley Johnson, Mason Jones, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, Austin Reeves, and Russell Westbrook. The head coach, Frank Vogel, GM Rob Pelinka, President of Basketball Operations, Jeannie Buss. And going into the 2022-2023 season, the Lakers currently have no draft picks. That's a lot. I just needed to catch my breath, obviously. Let me take these off. That's for reading. I don't need to read anymore. So obviously that team initially, the Lakers team initially in 2018, full of a lot of young guys who were probably second, third year in the league, potentially first year in the league, obviously. That team did not achieve as much as people kind of expected LeBron James led team to achieve initially. But it's their first year. It was their first year of construction. I personally thought that had they completed the season together and then ran it back the following season, I think with that core group of guys that they could have actually been a championship contending team. However, the Lakers decided to make the trade for Anthony Davis, which paid immediate dividends because in the 2020 season, obviously, during the pandemic, they won a championship in the bubble, which is great. I think that if you make a trade like that where you give up young players and draft picks that winning a championship. If winning a championship was your ultimate goal and you've done that, then you won the trade. However, in making that trade for Anthony Davis, who obviously is a superstar in the league, when healthy, the last couple of seasons he hasn't been that. So, like this year, for example, Anthony Davis played 40 games. I don't, and to say that this team this season was built to not have Anthony Davis for most of the year, I'd be lying. Anthony Davis was supposed to be the focal point of this team. Anthony Davis was supposed to get the torch from LeBron James. That 2020 finals where AD kind of took over and did his thing against the Heat was a unscripted passing of the guard, if you will, from LeBron James, where LeBron was going, AD, this is your team. I'm just here for support. And as long as you're here, as long as I'm here, you got me until I retire. And then after that, this is you. You got to keep this afloat. In most cases, that would be fine. However, if we look at Anthony Davis's career, no disrespect to him, he never had New Orleans overachieve in anything. He never pushed the New Orleans when he got drafted. It was the Hornets, then they became the Pelicans. He never took them anywhere. I mean, obviously, they went to the first round a couple of times. Maybe a second round appearance. I don't know off the top of my head. But a lot of times there's a lot of underachieving. Now, personal stats, obviously, he's a superstar in the league for a reason because he achieved all the personal stats. But we're talking about team success at the end of the day, which isn't dictated by one player, but his track record shows he's not that player that pushes the team to the next level on his own anyway. Obviously, if you get put on the team with LeBron James, if you score 28 and 12 on a team led by LeBron James where LeBron averages damn near triple-double, I mean, you're the icing on the cake. So, there's that. Steadily over the years, the Lakers made moves to try to improve themselves for the long haul. They wanted to be a team that was built for the playoffs, to be ready and to be successful. However, in trying to build a team that's ready for the playoffs and the finals, they started subtracting from the core that they needed to win, the core that they had when they did win. It is essentially the opposite of the phrase addition by subtraction. The Lakers ended up becoming subtraction by addition, or subtraction by subtraction, because they technically did both. And we fast forward and we get to the 2021 season and the 2022 season, where we have this current Lakers roster with this band of veterans, as well as a couple of young guys, but mostly old guys, as Charles Barkley likes to refer to them as a bunch of old geezers, which is hilarious considering he's old as hell. But I definitely sympathize in that regard because in terms of basketball, they are a bunch of older dudes. The Lakers forced a trade for Russell Westbrook, which I can honestly say from the beginning I didn't think was going to work. You can't have two ball-dominant players who literally require the ball in their hands on the same team and not change their mindsets. when LeBron went to Miami initially, obviously Dwayne Wade was used to having the ball in his hand, and he deferred to LeBron because at that point LeBron was kind of taking the mantle of the best player in the league. He was that guy, uh, top two in MVP voting. It was kind of easy. And then once they had that initial interaction that after that first season when they lost to the Mavs, it was they got so good at it they were able to take turns. But that's the mindset and the mentality that they had. Russell Westbrook is a dog. I respect his game. I respect his heart. Uh, I don't know what happened after KD left OKC. I think that this stems from that. But Russell Westbrook can't play with star players. He just can't. On any given night, he can get you a triple double. That's great. Amazing statistical player. He's gonna go down in the Hall of Fame. Average a triple double for 3 seasons. Obviously, that's something we haven't seen done. But it just wasn't what the Lakers needed. The Lakers needed scoring, they needed shooting, and they needed bench presence. They needed bench help. They also needed defenders. None of which they added. They could have gotten Buddy Hield, DeMar DeRozan, quite a few guys in the offseason or during the season for that matter, and they just didn't pull the trigger for whatever reason because they wanted to add Russell Westbrook and try to recreate this big three super team type of vibe with this squad with obviously Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Russ. And unfortunately, that experiment failed. LeBron played 52 games, I want to say. AD played 40 and Russ played 72. And that a super team does not make. It is what it is. If you guys can't play 2/3 of the season together, you're not a super team. You're just a band of misfits. It is what it is. You're the defenders, if you will. You're not the Avengers. You're the defenders. Shout out to Marvel. So yeah, it was obviously the injury bug derailed them, but Russ's play, obviously, it almost seemed like he forgot how to shoot. He forgot how to pass. Over dribbling, overthinking, unnecessary shots. And you started to see that pressure kind of get to him. Even in his post-game interviews where his interaction with the media, he's a little short, he's a little snappy, very sarcastic. Which, listen, at the end of the day, if you just lost by 20 and your fans are booing you, people are, talking about your family, all types of stuff, I get it. You would feel the type of way too. But at the end of the day, we got to talk about results. And the results just weren't there. In the past, when it was just Russell Westbrook, he was able to kind of boost his team to get to at least the bottom tier of the playoffs, kind of push his team, even if it meant the first round exit. However, the Lakers roster, as it's currently constructed, even with Russ doing everything he could, that team was not going to make the playoffs. It just didn't cut it. The Lakers didn't have enough shooting. Their bench had no depth whatsoever. And after a while, sometimes you're kind of watching the games and like, who's this playing? Who's that playing? It was great to see Melo back in the fold, back in the league, but they didn't need Melo. Melo could have went somewhere else and just been that 15 to 17 minutes off the bench to give you 10 to 12 points. On this team, Melo was looked at as like one of the main options scoring-wise. Melo's a offensive juggernaut, one of the best scorers in NBA history. But offensive juggernaut in today's basketball, he's not. Once again, no disrespect to him. That's just what it is. Avery Bradley, a great defender, not a great shooter. Kent Bazemore, great defender, not a great shooter. DJ Augustin, I don't even think he played this season. Trevor Ariza developed the jump shot, but more known as a defender. Who else? Wayne Ellington, shooter, not much of a defender. Wenyen Gabriel, defender, THT, score, he's a bucket. Okay, that's one. Dwight Howard, when healthy, obviously he's a force to be reckoned with defensively. Offensively, he's still a problem, I think, given the opportunity in the right system. Stanley Johnson, Mason Jones, no idea. Malik Monk, bucket, can shoot. Kendrick Nunn, I don't think played at all this season. Austin Reeves, young kid, just got drafted. And then Russ. So if you look at that roster up and down, it's just it's a mishmash of players, essentially. It's like when you first do my team, you kind of just get random people put together. You get too many guards, or you get too many bigs, so you got a center playing point guard. That's the kind of vibe I get from this team. And it's very unfortunate, man. There's been a lot of excuses around them, uh, from front office to Frank Vogel to this to that. And I think we have to talk about who's really to blame, because I don't think it's fair. They talk about it on ESPN a lot. Even Stephen A. Smith said it today that Frank Vogel is probably going to be fired at the end of the season. Uh, that's probably what's realistically going to happen. I don't think that's fair. I don't. You can't say that he didn't put the players in the right position. He played the best players that he could with the roster that he was given, and that's just what it is. If he's not given the pieces he needs, that's what the end result's going to be. If you refuse to make changes during the season, then that's what the end result's going to be. The Lakers were trying to run through a brick wall head first, and the brick wall won. Surprise. To blame Frank Vogel is a testament to the lack of accountability that's circulating around the NBA. Players are empowered to do whatever they want to do in order to advance their career or salvage their careers or put themselves in the best possible position to win championships and achieve the individual statistics and success that they want. Where you have players like James Harden who show up out of shape and uh, basically becomes a detriment to the locker room, just, you know, being a jerk to teammates, whatever the case may be, not showing up to practice. Or you have a Ben Simmons who just refuses to play, doesn't show up for anything, doesn't report for anything. So you have different ways where players feel like they're empowered, or players forcing a trade, advocating for coaches to get fired, anything. So why is it that when these players are empowered to make these types of decisions and these types of movements and actions, why aren't they held accountable? Why should a coach be fired because LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook? I, for the life of me, I can't understand that. Frank Vogel didn't make the trade. Frank Vogel didn't give up the rest of the draft picks that the Lakers have. The Lakers have no draft picks going into this offseason. You're going to bring in a new coach. You're going to try to trade Russell Westbrook and get whatever you can for him because it's an expiring contract, and pray that somebody throws a draft pick your way. I mean, most of the people you have are under 1 year contracts. Anybody who's, excuse me, anybody who's under any contract longer than that is probably not somebody that a team wants. I mean, you have a couple of pieces that a team may want, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get any draft picks. So we could potentially see a season where the Lakers do not draft anybody. Now, they can pick up people, obviously, after the draft is done. Any undrafted players, they could sign in free agency. The clock starts there, free agency. But are we going to really see them pick up a player that's going to make a difference? I think that's the real question. And teams go through this from time to time. We have teams that are dynasties where they're at the top. They're where everybody's looking at. They're at the top of the mountain, like I said. And they get to a point where all the players who got them there, and the coaching staff, the front office staff that got them there, start to slowly walk away, whether it be trade, retirement, uh, mutually parting ways, getting fired. All these things happen. Injuries, whatnot, etc. Salary, all of it happens. And teams prepare for that, fall from grace, and they start drafting properly. They start drafting replacements with players, start building with players, bringing in the new players to play with current players to try to learn how to do certain things so that when those players walk away, that it's like they never left. You know, they just pick up and start running from where they left off. What's happening with the Lakers is at this point they have nobody to just pick up from where they left off. That's why you saw the steady decline from the 2020 season. You know, like I said, they won that championship. That's a success. They achieved the ultimate goal. However, and I let me be clear when I say this, and if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow. LeBron James will never win another championship with the Lakers. I don't see any move they could make that would change that. Now, if you tell me he opts out and he goes somewhere else, then there's a possibility he wins another championship. But as long as LeBron James is on the Lakers, he is not winning another championship. And that's just what it is. Uh, I can't sugarcoat it. I'm just talking basketball. Like I said, when I started this page, when I started this podcast, when I start this channel, I'm gonna give it to you raw. That's just what it is. That's pure facts. Um, if you guys don't agree, feel free to hit me. I'm gonna go live after this video, but I want you guys' honest opinions on it. This is just my assessment. You guys don't have to agree with me. This is just my objective opinion on it, and that's it, guys. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Any feedback is always appreciated, like I said. And until next time, guys, go sit in the corner.